Ladies and gentlemen, ATV Productions likes to welcome you to Tea Time with Aladdin. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your favorite talk show, Tea Time with Aladdin. I apologize on my absence. I just took a exam on the renal system, and I believe I did pretty well. So, if you care about my school endeavors, well, thank you. If you don't care, like everyone else, including my mother, then I'm okay with that as well. But anything other than that, hope you guys are having a great day. Hope you guys are getting your day started with some nice tea, getting your Mondays off right. I hope you guys had a great weekend, first and foremost. I absolutely had a beautiful weekend. I just sat on the beach all weekend. I'm very crispy right now. I'm crispier than a lobster, and I hurt. I got sunburn on my shoulders, and it's just been a dark day. But like I said, I hope you guys are starting your days off right. If you guys are heading into work right now, I hope you guys aren't dreading your day. And if you're listening to my voice, I hope it's not irritating you any further, knowing that you have to go to work with my voice in your head. Or if you're very content with your day and you don't have to go to work today and you got to sleep in and enjoy your day, well, this is for you. Um, Always start your day off with a nice cup of tea, some chamomile, some Earl Grey, some chai latte, something like that. Maybe a little cinnamon, some ginger lemon tea. That is some pretty good stuff. I will probably be having some ginger lemon tea myself. Excuse me. Uh, so I'm going to go ahead and do a few honorable mentions. Thank you for the new listeners that I have recently acquired over the last week. And to everyone who listens to the podcast on all the different platforms that we offer. We are now on iTunes or, iPodcast or Apple Podcast. Don't really know what it's called exactly, but we are now on Apple Podcast. So if you guys are Apple users or have friends who are on Apple users, please share this with them and let them know that we are everywhere. So Tea Time is available to you all. Lastly, I would also like to go ahead and announce some changes I have coming up for the show. I'm going to be altering the setup in the next couple of episodes. Well, probably, I think I'm going to do the rest of this show, the series, the season, I guess. And then upcoming, I'm going to start integrating some interviews with some of the music for the bands and artists for the music that I play on the show. Because, again, getting in contact with a lot of them, they all are very supportive of everything. So I'm very happy to have them on board with me sharing their music. So I hope you guys stay tuned for that coming up and to get more of you guys involved with that. And as well as trying to get professional, I guess, speakers, you could say, to discuss about some of the topics. I'm going to try to change it up a bit and try to just make this more educational and more formal. So I'm still going to have a little bit of goofiness to it, but also some serious matters with it as well. And of course, get more music involved because music is forever the best. So I hope you guys sit back, relax, enjoy the show, sip on your tea. Again, for the coffee drinkers, we acknowledge you. You're still number two, but we like you too. And on today's topics, I have a very special guest. Me and my friend Jessica were actually talking about some just things. We were catching up, since we haven't seen each other in months since I came to the island for school. And she actually started talking to me about some things that it's essentially going to be our topics for today, and they're fairly funny. So I hope you guys enjoy the banter that we're about to put out for you. I'm actually thinking about having her come on for the next couple of episodes that I put out here because it's kind of like one big accumulation of topics and ideas, and it's all about relationships. And right now, it's the time we're about to see it all over again. It's, as the world terms it, cuffing season. And if you're out there looking for your significant other just to drop them in the after the winter season is over, well, this is for you guys. And if you're the other people who are getting conned into the cuffing, then this is for you as well. But as a whole, this is for everyone out there who has anything to do with relationships at this time. They want to be in a relationship, they're trying to contact that girl, they're trying to contact that guy, or vice versa. However, you guys do it, this is for everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome to you guys Jessica. Jessica, say hello.
Yes. Hi. Hi, Aladdin. Hi, listeners.
So, everyone, this is my friend Jessica. We've known each other since college. A lot of good times, a lot of scary times. Uh, college was college has done wonderful and interesting things for us. But our topics today have very we so me and Jessica, we always have weird lives, and when it comes to relationships, our lives get even weirder. So
Lots of
some of
drama.
the what is it?
Lots of drama.
The drama never ends. It's literally like a soap opera that you watch and you look at it and you're just like, what the hell have I been watching for the last year of my life? But then you realize you're somehow involved, and we are those people who are somehow we are involved. We don't
Yeah.
like it, but then something about it just says like you can't turn away because something about it is so juicy that you just love to see it. So it's kind of like we don't we tell you it's a bad idea, but we also like the toxicity, it's pretty fucked up, but it is what it is. Now, I will like to say for any of you younger listeners out there, child parental advisory, please is advised. Um, some of the things that we will be discussing are not for the ears of the young, so do not let your children listen to this. But please share with your friends and your families. I know your parents will know this very well. Now, we are starting off this topic with ghosting. Now, we're not talking about Casper the Friendly Ghost. We are talking about the one person that you finally seen that you've made that connection with. Next thing you know, a week goes by and you're like already planning the wedding. You hear the church bells ringing and you're trying to figure out how you can train your dog to walk to the altar with the rings. Well, next thing you know, she stops texting you or he stops texting you. And in your head, you start to give yourself panic attacks or you're having anxiety on whether or not you should contact this person or if you should show up on their doorstep with a boombox in your hand trying to sing.
Don't do that.
Well, yeah,
Never do that.
never do that. But you always are just thinking to yourself, do you send out that text message? Do you give them a call? Do you call their parents and tell them that you planned on meeting with them? So
You call their boss and make sure they're still coming into work.
exactly. Which, if you do that, you will get arrested and you will have a restraining order shortly later that
Oh,
week.
very much so.
Now, Jessica, I'm going to go ahead and ask you, have you ever ghosted anybody?
Frequently.
Now,
I
could
am a I'm a terrible person to communicate with because I just forget to respond. So if I just get bored with the conversation, you'll never hear from me again, no matter how good the connection was. And it's really bad. It's a really bad trait to have. Um, but here we are, and so it happens all the time. I've
and I
been
mean,
on both sides of it.
right, and I have as well. I can definitely openly say that in the time that I've been on this island, the amount of people that have contacted me and the amount of times I have been ghosted has been a very sufficient amount. And I have never contacted these people again because obviously it is not worth my time or stress because I have better and bigger things to worry about. But, there comes a point in time where you're just like, damn, this sucks, especially if you like the person. There's like two ends of the spectrum when you ghost, or if you've been ghosted. There's you really like the person, and they shafted you so badly, or it's, damn, I don't want to do it, but I just have to do it. Now,
I
Jessica,
feel like though there's a third option there that like I said, like you just forget. Like, and it sucks to say that because I know there's like several people that if they were to hit me up now and be like, "Hey, why did we stop talking?" I would just be like, "Honestly, you weren't that memorable." And like
ooh,
that's a worse thing to say to someone. So like I'm totally fine with like never reaching out to them again because if I did, it would just be shitty.
no, that's fair, but I don't know. Sometimes I think to myself and I go, okay, I can either, okay, hold on. Maybe I should rephrase this. So I totally feel you when it comes down to like, okay, they weren't memorable because obviously they're not worth your time and you're not going to put the effort in trying to contact somebody who just, I don't know, I guess they were like a filler for your
Yeah.
time. Yeah. But I don't know, sometimes I just feel dirty for doing it, you know? I kind of feel like do you feel like when that's happened that you felt like you were stringing them along at all?
I mean, in some cases, like yes, because I'm like, well, like they didn't do anything wrong or anything to like warrant it, and so I feel kind of bad about it. Um, but at the same time, like you have to think of the alternative, right? Like the alternative is I keep talking to them, or I just say like, hey, I'm just like not interested, and then they're like, well, we've been talking for all this time. Like, how are you just now aware that you're not interested?
Yeah,
Right?
that's true. Some people just instead of just accepting the fact, they try to like reason with you. And it's
Yeah.
like you're not going to change your mind. If you're not feeling it, then you're totally not feeling it.
And especially like as a woman dating, especially if like any of the people that I'm talking to are men, like that can get a little concerning. So it's like a lot of the time I would rather just kind of dip out and just not respond because that's a lot better than being like cursed out by this dude who was acting like he was into me just because I don't want to talk to him anymore.
And that's, you know, all right, let me tell you guys something. If at any point you get ghosted or you are ghosting somebody, don't be an asshole. Just keep it short and simple. Just leave it be. And if they try to reach out to you, don't be calling names. It's totally unnecessary.
Yeah. Like that person has a right to not want to speak to you anymore. Like they have no reason to like give you an explanation for that, right? Like there's no requirement for them to do that. So like they're well within their rights to never speak to you again for no reason, assuming you don't have like a long-term established relationship.
Right.
And being a dick isn't making you look better. So
Not one bit.
like it's just making them like, oh shit, I dodged a bullet here. Like that was a good decision. I'm glad I stopped talking to this person.
And
And that's not the impression that you want to leave.
not to mention, after you cuss them out, about a day or two later, you hit them up again. So, you want to go out with me later
Yeah.
tonight or this weekend and go for a drink? Odds are you've already been blocked or they're at your doorstep with the cops because you're crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, just accept it. Sometimes you just have to know when it's over. You know, I feel like for me, and this is why I always like look at ghosting and whenever I talk to somebody who's always like contemplating, like I don't know about you Jessica, but like when it's happened to me, I think if I made a list of everyone that I have been ghosted by or that I have ghosted, I think I've ghosted maybe two people, which I have good reason. And then the people who have ghosted me, well, honestly, those are actually really shitty. It's kind of like what she said. Like if it's been a while and it's like something that it was established, which it was, And then next thing you know, just like out of the blue, oh, and then like a week or like a month later, they come back like, oh yeah, things got busy. It's not worth your time, and you don't have to respond to them because that's
Yeah,
totally
that
exactly
person's not
like
worth it.
if they decide to come back, either they were screwing around with somebody else or they really were busy. But you can always make time. There's nobody
Yeah, like that if they're not gonna make you a priority enough to say something in like a like 2 week period, like they're not worth your time.
because the more you stress over it, it's literally it'll make you insane. So it's like think to yourself, your sanity, or you could just hop back on that train and keep on going, finding the next person. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So honestly,
That's why
but
you always
now
people faster.
exactly, bitches. but but now for the people that I have just stopped responding to, I feel like sometimes deep down inside, like I feel like there's healthy ghosting, like a mutual ghosting. Let me say it like that. There's a mutual
Hmm.
ghosting, and then there's all right, I'm not feeling it. They may be a little too eager about this, which isn't attractive. And then you're like, okay, I'm probably never going to see them again. And the one I did it, I felt like a mutual thing. Like we discussed, like I was out, we had a good time. We both, enjoyed each other's company. But you just don't. I feel like you can really tell if you're gonna like potentially be with somebody after the first date. What about you? Like, do you
Yeah.
think so, Jessica?
Yeah, I feel like you gauge the chemistry and you can see if you like mesh in that like initial meeting, and like that's when you know if it's going to like if you're gonna want to see them again.
Right. Because I mean, at that point, it's again. I feel like you can tell just the way it ends. And usually, like for me, when it happened to me, I was like, you know, she had to go. I think she said to go work out, and then I had to go back to school and do my stuff. So at the end, we were just like, okay, have a great day. But that was it. I don't think any of us either expected to plan out another day after that. It was just cut and dry, bing, bang, boom. It was just an awkward
Yeah.
dynamic. Yeah,
Yeah. I wouldn't
But
even really call that ghosting though. That just like you just like mutually weren't into it, and like that's totally fine. I think ghosting is
fair.
more like the other scenario you described where like one person's into it and the other person's just not.
Right.
And like that happened with me recently, and like I didn't even realize that I did it until we had the initial conversation about this, because I had been talking to this guy um that works in this restaurant downtown for a little while, like probably like a month and a half, 2 months. Like we've been talking frequently, and I just ignored like three messages in a row, and not
Shady.
like intentionally. Like I wasn't like opening it like, oh, I don't want to talk to him. I was just like in one of those places where I was like, oh, I'll get to this later.
Fair.
But
Because,
I
like,
was
you're
like, at
busy.
that point, like three in a row, like I recognized like, oh, I'm not prioritizing this. Like I'm just not that into it.
Right.
It's gonna be easier for me to just not say anything than for me to like reach out now when it's been like probably a good like 5 days since the last one.
Right.
So I'm just not gonna say anything at this point. So like I'm just gonna ghost. Like I'm just out
Off the radar.
unintentionally,
Right.
because that wasn't my plan going into it, but I
Right.
realized like, oh, I'm just not that into it. And he probably realized the same thing. And so it doesn't feel like there's like hard feelings there, but it's
But,
still like, is it kind of a rude thing to do still? Yeah. But
yeah. I don't know. It's hard because, like you said, I mean, sometimes it is a tricky situation because, like, I know you work a lot. So in
yeah,
your case, like, yes, you want to take the time and talk to this person, but you also have to stop and think that time to talk to a person takes a lot of time out of your day because especially if he starts responding and he's like really quick at his responses, then you're just like, damn, if I keep talking, I'm going to be behind on the things that I actually have to do today. And then you get distracted. And then it's just, so it's like you do forget. Sometimes it's just an honesty, forgetful thing. Now, here's my question though. Why wouldn't you just say, why instead of just ghosting, would you just say, hey, super sorry, but I'm going to be like off the radar for a bit? Or is that essentially to them another way of saying ghosting?
I mean, it's kind of, I think I think that's kind of like leading up to ghosting, right?
Right,
Because I had definitely done that a couple times. And that was when I realized, like, oh, this isn't going anywhere. Because I had already told him a few times, like, hey, I work a lot. Like, sometimes I'm just really hard to get a hold of. And I don't mean to ignore you because I had ignored some of his messages before and just not like realized it.
right.
Because that happens to me with like the people that I talk to every day, and I will unintentionally ignore them for like 8 hours.
Oh, I do the
And
exact same. I'm so guilty of
yeah,
that.
exactly. So like it just happens sometimes, and so I had said that to him, but it was just like happening so much, and I had apologized multiple times, like, hey, sorry, I can't respond right now. And then like I was on a road trip and I was like, my bad. I'm not trying to ignore you, but I'm also like in a different time zone and like doing things. So like really can't talk right now. And so it was just like never working out to the point that I was like, it's not even worth it for me to apologize anymore
Yeah,
because like I've apologized so many times that it is meaningless to him at this point for me to just be like, "Hey, I'm so sorry."
yeah, because at that
Um
point he knows it's not like a,
yeah, he knows it's not genuine anymore. Like,
which
and
isn't
like,
your fault.
do I mean it? Yeah, but I'm not like hurting over the fact that I'm ignoring him.
Exactly, because it's not hurting you, and obviously, I'm
Yeah,
sure he at this point is like, it's whatever.
yeah. Like at that point, he's probably given up.
Yeah, I feel that. But sometimes there's that sweet moment. I remember one time there was a girl that I met, oddly enough, at a wedding, and we were hitting it off, had a blast, and then shortly after we went out on a date, and straight up we were cracking jokes like, yeah, so this is where I ghost you, and we were like laughing about it. Girl straight up ghosted me. Damn, was it like the dirtiest way to ghost? I was like, damn, she wasn't fucking around. She was serious. She just, but even though
That's hilarious.
at the same time, I was like, I totally respect the honesty. But then next thing you know, I was just like, man, I don't know. I think I liked it better when they didn't say anything. Because once you like both realize it, you're just like, I hope she was fucking around. And then you like try and then you just look awkward. You're just like, oh, we weren't
Yeah.
messing around.
So I have in my Tinder bio, like, first of all, I don't even know why I use Tinder anymore because, like, I don't talk to people. I just, like, have it to get the notifications, I
It's
guess.
become a game.
And it pretty much is. But in my Tinder bio, I literally say, like, let's talk for a couple weeks until one of us stops responding. Like, I literally
Facts.
talk about ghosting in my Tinder bio, and people take this as a joke. And I'm like, I'm serious. Like, sometimes dudes will open up with, like, LOL, so how long is it going to take for you to stop responding? Or, like, who do you think's going to stop responding first? And I'm just like, me, bitch, I'm not going to say shit to that. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean?
Be like, you lasted about 5 seconds. Bye.
Yeah, congratulations. It's a new record.
No,
Um,
it's true though, and I don't know. It's so weird because that's a valid statement. Like nobody, I don't know. Is it more along? Okay, so let me ask you this: is there another reason other than like, okay, so you're having a conversation, right? Everything's
mhm.
going good. Do you have a limit? Because like for me, sometimes I feel like I have a limit to how long a person should talk before you offer to go out on a date or like even imply going on a date. Do you have a limit like or like a time frame?
Not really. It just kind of depends on how the conversation's vibing, right? So
Right.
there's been some people that like if you start this conversation and you're just like hounding me to hang out right away, I'm like, no, like we're not gonna talk. That's never gonna happen.
Right.
And then there's other times where there was this guy that just happened to be like in town, and he was like, "Hey, I have." This was before Corona. He was like, "Hey, I have tickets to this concert. Do you want to come with me tonight?" And I was like, "Sure. I'm not doing anything. Like that's fine. Like why not? I don't have any valid excuse to not go."
Right.
Um,
Hey, free show.
and went, and then mutually ghosted each other afterwards, so that was fine.
Those are the
Um,
best.
uh, but yeah, it was like it just depends. Like, I'm not gonna say it has to be like we talk for a week or we talk for a couple days first. It just depends on how the vibe is.
Right. No, that makes
So,
sense. Now, before we switch over to the last topic, or not the last topic. See, now I'm jumping the gun. Before we go on to the next topic, first off and foremost, let me ask you this: do you feel that? Let me. How can I phrase this? Okay, so someone's just been ghosted, right? Do you
hmm
think that this person should reach out to a person, or should they just let it go?
like someone just ghosted you. Should you say something to them?
Yeah, so like somebody, like say
Okay.
if it was me asking you, so if I was saying I was talking to somebody and then I got ghosted, would you? What would?
So here's my personal rule, right? If I think that someone's ghosted me, or even if not, like, this is my personal rule just because I don't like to waste time on people who don't prioritize me. Um,
Likewise.
know your self worth, it's very important. But
It's true though.
I, um, I will send someone 3 text messages, and if I get no response, then I'm out. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Um, and like fully out, like delete you on all social media, it doesn't matter. Like you would have to be like one of my best friends for me to do that, and just like never hear from you and me like be okay with it, but then I would also assume that you died or something. um
100%. Which it'd actually be beneficial for you if you did die, because then
yeah,
you would be like, oh wow, I feel super shitty now.
yeah, but like here's what I do with those 3 text messages, because like if one of them's ending a conversation, or not like really ending the conversation, but it's just like saying something that doesn't get a response, like I count that. Like if I sent the last message and there's no response to it, I'm gonna wait like a full day, like at least a full 24 hours before I send anything else to try and like open a new conversation.
That's fair.
If I get no response to that, I'm gonna wait at least 3 days and send the last one, and then I'm gonna give it a full week, no response at all.
Game
It
over.
doesn't matter. Like I'm out. Like I'm
Yeah.
100% out. I'm not saying anything about it. And that's what I feel like most people should do, because I don't think you should, like, if someone ghosts you, you don't need to come back at them like, "Hey, what did I do wrong?" I
Yeah.
recently had a friend of mine who is like my only straight white male friend, because I try to keep it,
Pretty
representative.
ethnic.
And uh, he was telling me about how this girl ghosted him, and they had like plans for like loose plans for a date the next day, and he was freaking out about it, right? Like he was losing his mind about it, and I was like, why? Like, she ghosted you, she doesn't want to talk to you, that's it. Like, that's the end of it. You can leave it at that. And he was like, no, I deserve to be told what I did wrong. And I was like, no, she doesn't owe you anything. She doesn't owe you any type of explanation. And if you're going into any interaction with another human being, saying I deserve something from you out of this, then you're going into it wrong, and it's
100%.
going to end poorly for you. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter if you're thinking you deserve something at the end of it or at the beginning or whatever. Like, that is another person. They will give you whatever they want to give you, and it is your choice to take it or not. And if they stop giving you, then you can't take anymore. Like, that's it. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
And
No.
there's no reason to like reach out. He made the mistake of calling and leaving her a voicemail asking what he did wrong.
Damn, a
And I was like,
voicemail.
yeah, I was like, and that's, if you're gonna do anything, send her a text message, but like don't call. And he did anyway. Um, I can tell you straight up, if I ghosted a dude and then he called me and left me a voicemail, um, I would block his number so hard that I would literally like call my friends and be like, "Hey, please block this person's number. I know he's never called you, and you don't know who it is, but block it anyway, just in case, because that's the level of crazy that I'm picturing from that scenario."
It's so true though, and I mean, it's sometimes you feel bad, and like you said, they don't owe you that. I mean, maybe at the time you feel like it, but I'm probably going to adopt your way because I actually like that. Because my thing is, typically, as time goes on and the more experienced you are when it comes to relationships and dating, I totally feel that if it happens, you just let it go. Like, there is no need to ever reach out to them again. If they reach out to you and you want to take that leap and start talking to them again, that's on you. Because if it happened once, it's most likely going to happen again. But
Yeah,
yeah, so it's like, but again, like you said, it's happened to me a few times since I've been out here, and a few of them eventually reached out to me afterwards. But obviously, I'm not going to give them the same time of day as I did because it's just a shitty experience. But you expect to get what you were given. So like, if it happened to you, then they better expect it back. But don't dish it at them like an asshole. But just be respectful about
yeah.
it. So
Exactly. Like, don't go at it with like revenge in mind or something like that if they reach back out to you. Like, that's just rude and unnecessary. Like, if you want to talk to
learn
them,
your
if you're
manners.
genuinely still interested in pursuing something, then yeah, absolutely still go for it. But like,
Tread
if
easy,
you're
my
going to
friend.
do that, you need to like forgive anything that happened in the past. Like, you
Exactly.
can't go into it already being upset that they ghosted you before. You need to get rid of that, or it's going to hang over anything and you're not going to have a healthy relationship. So, like, if you can't get past that, if you can't get past what they did, there's no, like, there's nothing
Moving
wrong with
forward.
it. Like, you, if you can't move past it, you can't. Like, that's totally okay. Some people never move past things like that, but don't expect your relationship to work out because of it. That just means they're not the person for you.
Simple as
There's
that,
plenty more
guys.
people.
And on that note, as you continue to search for that special someone in these dark, isolated times, be very careful. Try, try not to ghost, but if it happens, it happens. If they start planning their wedding and talking what your kids will look like on the first date, run and change your name. And on top of that, be nice. Winter is a long, long time, and you never know what's going to happen. So be careful with that, and feel free to let me know on if you guys are very fond of the ghosting technique or if you hate it just as much as I do. right, so now for our second topic, it really comes back down to the ghosting just happened, right? What do you do? Again, it's corona time. It's winter. No one really wants to go out and date. And if somebody is willing to go out with you, then you just scored a lucky person. Or they're just trying to get you sick so you can get stuck with them in quarantine, which is very, very dirty. But say you just got ghosted. Should you be sad? No, you should not. Let me tell you why. And this is actually something really funny because I was talking to Jessica about it, and she was the one who actually told me this. And it's even funnier because I never heard of it. And she has taught me, she opened my eyes to an experience to something that I should have been doing my entire life. Now, Jessica, as you said, you keep Tinder just to keep it, right? It's just there.
Yeah,
Now, on top of the people that have ghosted or you have ghosted, obviously you're not too upset because you have a life and you're not going to just die over one person. But
exactly.
we discussed something called having a roster.
Yes,
Would you care to explain to everybody what exactly you mean by having a roster?
absolutely. I didn't realize that like it was a foreign concept to people to talk about having a roster. Um, because I guess it's just been normal in my friend groups. But the roster, or if you are a woman and you prefer the term maintenance men, um,
I like that.
these are the partners that you keep around um, to keep you sexually maintained while you are otherwise not involved. So, what I typically recommend is having like 3 to 5 partners on your roster who you aren't necessarily having like sex with all the time
It could
because,
just be a nice dinner date or just going out.
yeah,
Having, yeah,
like these should be people that you should genuinely be friends with or like exes who you ended on good terms or something along those lines because if you've got like 5 people on your roster at any given time, at least 2 of them are probably going to be in a relationship, so they're out.
fair.
And then, like, you've only got really 3 to work with. And they're all going to be a little bit different experiences. So you have things that you can cycle, and they're never getting too attached to you. So you're not ever getting, you're not ever getting back into the
You give a
relationship,
little,
right?
you get a little. It's a
Yeah,
mutual win for everybody.
exactly.
Yeah,
It's
when
very important to keep.
yeah, honestly though, it's really fair and it's also very interesting, which I won't get too far into it because it's actually a topic for another episode this week. But I don't know. I feel that it's okay to do that, especially if you're not like in a committed relationship, which I mean, if you look at it, no one today really wants to be in a committed relationship
Yeah,
because I don't know. It's really hard to say because I mean, if you look at it, we're in a very struggled time right now. So trying to even think about being in a relationship is pretty intense concept to just like wrap your head around because
yeah,
half the time you have to again distance yourself, and if you're not distancing yourself you're not wearing a mask, and there's just a bunch of stuff, and to top it off winter is here, so it's like you're in that weird like little spot when it comes to like dating and just everything all around. So essentially, if you have that, which I don't, you can, say you just wanted to watch a movie with someone, just have some good company, someone be the big spoon, little spoon. You could get that. You have a person
yeah.
who can be the little spoon to your big spoon. And, or, if you're trying to light the candles and forget the movie, then you can do that too for those of you who are 18 and up because, don't be dirty, you heathens. But at the same time, you have your limits and you have your people, which I think is super cool. But let me ask you now, since I feel like your roster is super tight, um, Is there ever any awkward moments for you? Do you ever feel like it ever like have you ever dropped anybody off your roster? Have you ever like
Yeah.
when yeah, when was the last
I
time you were
mean,
like this guy's gone?
so like there's different reasons to like drop someone off a roster. Like typically you're in like a long-term relationship and I've decided to respect that relationship. And
At
uh
this moment in time, but earlier she didn't.
yeah. Um I mean it depends, right? Um there's
Yeah, sometimes
um
they're just assholes and you're like I got to help him or her.
so there's one person who is on my roster who who has
Shout
been
out.
on my roster despite the fact that he only recently got out of a long-term relationship
He's a
because
wonderful
that
guy.
was irrelevant to me at the time because it was fine. I wasn't actively like pursuing anything to disrespect their relationship because I'm not a terrible person, but I never fully took him off the roster because I didn't need to. I didn't feel like it was serious enough yet, right? But like there's
That's
been
fair.
other people where like you get into a really serious relationship and if I'm like friends enough with you or acquaintances enough with you to like have you like come over and hang out and we can talk and catch up and then do whatever other stuff we want to do. um I know enough about your life and respect you enough to not like
To come in.
push or
Yeah,
like be in that situation, so like I can know the like limit there, right? And like
exactly.
so if I see like, oh, you're in a relationship with someone, it's going really well, cool. I'm not like you're not an option in my mind anymore.
Right. You're not going to
And
go and
that's
try
what
to
takes
ruin
you
something.
off of the roster.
Right.
But like it just depends. Like sometimes like someone's added onto the roster just because they're like in town for an extended period of time. Like Corona's a great time for that. So like, oh, you're like back from school for a while. Great, good to know. Like
Hit a
put
brother
you in
up.
my mind as an option, right? Like that's essentially all it is like keeping a list in your mind like, oh, these people are options.
Right.
And it's especially helpful during corona times. Like I talked to a lot of people who were like all upset about corona because they've been single the whole time and they're like, I don't know what to do. Like I haven't been out on dates with anyone. Like I haven't gotten laid in like 6 months. Like it's been insane. And I'm like, how do
It's a
you
drought.
not like just have a roster?
Right.
Like how do you not just like have someone that you can just hit up? Like, oh, like surprise, it's corona time. We're suddenly quarantined and all right. I think I lasted probably like 3 weeks into quarantine before I was like, all right, I guess I gotta like start taking advantage of this because I can't go out and meet people.
That girl.
So
That's
that's
my
how you
girl.
gotta keep it.
See, and I'm telling you, that's honestly such a. When she told me that, I literally, it was like a light bulb just shined on me, and I was like, wow, that is such a legitimate, like, thing. Because, I mean, if you think about it, whether it's just a platonic relationship and you guys are just hanging out, or if you guys make it, more than that, I mean, overall, it's such a you know who they are. You obviously have established somewhat of a reputable relationship with this person, and obviously you guys have good conversations. So it's like you can't go wrong. It's such a great
Yeah,
setup.
exactly. And like I don't want to like mislead you, but like every time I hang out with these people, it's not always sexual. Like
Right?
I know that you're like saying like having conversations and watching movies and stuff like that, but that's like actually what it is. Like I've gone grocery shopping with some of the guys that are on my roster just because I'm like I haven't seen anyone in a long time and I just want to do something that's like the kind of intimate that you normally do with someone who you're in a relationship with. And I just
Exactly.
want to do that with someone. So I need to do that with someone that I trust and someone that I know, and I have a few options for that. So,
And I actually really like it because I don't know. Sometimes it's like that dynamic because like we all have our friends that we could do these things with, But it's like, especially in a time where it's like, if I see this person every single day of my life, it gets a little boring. So it's like
Yeah.
this way you're going out, you're catching up, you share stories, and again, like she said, it doesn't always have to be a sexual encounter. Sometimes you just go to the grocery store, or go to the pet store, or just go to the park, walk your dogs
Yeah.
together, you know, tickle your cats, whatever you guys do for fun, or something along those
That felt
lines.
like a euphemism.
What is it?
The tickle your cats part felt like a euphemism.
That was not a euphemism. Oh my god! Now that I said it, like after you said it, see, it always sounds clean when I say it, but when you re-emphasize what I said, it sounds super dirty. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and just eliminate tickling kitties because as I keep saying it more and more, it sounds
You're
very
realizing it's a bad
dirty.
idea.
Yeah. Let's just go back to grocery shopping. There's nothing more cleaner than picking out detergent and pickles. I'm done. This conversation is being done. Everybody, just
It's
know,
just getting worse.
yeah, just the more objects I pick out, it starts tickling kitties, grabbing pickle jars. What's next? The cookie jar. So everybody start getting ready to draft, get your roster going. Also, I just have a quick question. Since we're talking about rosters are essentially sports team. You think of a sports team, right? Now, have you ever, before we change topics, have you ever drafted a roster with a friend? Like, or have you ever traded people from your roster with another roster?
Um, that is a good question. I have made recommendations to a friend,
I respect
but I would still keep the people on my roster.
that.
Like, just
Eskimo brothers, sisters.
I mean, there's no harm in that. Like,
It's true.
because I know where my friends have been, because we talk about everything. I know where the people on my roster have been because safety. So,
Preach.
um, that's simple. Like, I know I'm fine with it. So, that's cool. I've made that recommendation. I think more people should do that because if just like in sports, if your partners are good in specific positions, you should recommend those to your friends' teams.
Or if they're great grocery shoppers, remember, it doesn't always have to be
Men are
specific.
terrible grocery shoppers. You
Hey,
never take them to the store to be helpful. That's
look,
not why men go to the grocery store.
in my defense to all the guys out there, it's because there's too many options. You give us so many options, it's hard to choose. It's just the way of life. Give us yes or no, we're good. So I know you all agree with that, but but all right, everybody. So stay tuned for the next topic. Work on your rosters and prepare for the winter because the season is among us. All right, guys. So we are here for the last topic of Tea Time with Aladdin. Now, I hope you guys have enjoyed the show and you have enjoyed Jessica. And like I said, I have offered Jessica to actually chime in on a few of the episodes for the next couple of topics because, amongst the seasons of relationships, I feel like there's just so much we could talk about. And Jessica is one of my close friends, and she is very well experienced in every facet of the world. And we have spoke about many things together. So I think why not have her on the show, you know? So I hope you guys are enjoying Jessica's company. Jessica, how are you enjoying the show?
I'm enjoying it. It's fun.
She's just saying that to be nice. But so I'm going to go ahead and put us back in the grocery store, everybody. All right. Now, I am 25 years old, and I am a dashing looking fellow, depending on the shading of light that is shining upon me and how well I grew my hair. Now, I just happen to be walking in the produce section, and I am slapping a firm watermelon to make sure this watermelon is delicious, right? Now, a beautiful young lady walks up to me and says, "Excuse me, sir, but could you tell me why you are tapping on this watermelon?" And I say, "Well, I couldn't tell you the reason specifically. I just know that when I was growing up, by slapping a watermelon, you could tell if a watermelon is ripe or not." Do I actually know? No, because I do not like watermelon. But let's go back to our scenario. I am slapping this watermelon, and this lady loves the fact that you were slapping this watermelon. What do you do when she asks you to help out pick a watermelon? Of course, you're going to help her slap a watermelon. Now, let me continue on before the story gets really dirty. After you help her slap this watermelon, she asks you if you want to go out for a cup of coffee. You go out, have a cup of coffee with this lady after you helped her slap her watermelon. Okay, I am done with this story. However, let's go ahead and say that she asked you out to go on a date, right? And I, looking like a 6.5, possibly 7, depending on how good I slap that watermelon, she asked me out and I say yes. Now, this woman just happens to be in her mid 30s to late 40s, but she is a dashing, beautiful, elegant bird. Just, I take that back because I'm the bird, I'm the peacock. And she says, and I say yes. Okay, look, everything just got really weird, and I'm super sorry. But you got asked out on a date by this beautiful older woman. You say yes, but why? You want to be this woman's sugar baby. Now, that was a totally unnecessary scenario. I just wanted you guys to see how crazy that I could really be. But
I still can't get over the slapping the watermelon. How many times you just said that? I literally had to mute my microphone. I was laughing so
I
hard.
wish you did it. I wish you did it. But so erase that like minute of your time that I just wasted. But let's go back to the main topic at hand. So I was joking around with Jessica, and I was like, legit, I would love to be somebody's sugar baby, right? And she was like, fair after I was giving my reasons, which I am going to give you guys my reasons as well. But obviously, is it something that I would actually do? Probably not. But is there that slim part of me that would do it deep down inside? And I won't lie to you, I totally would. If there was a beautiful woman who offered to take me out just to like be her companion, to like go out with her and just she'll pay for dinner just to like be her companion, hell, sign me up, give me the contract, you can change my name if you wanted to. If I had to be Alfred, Wilfred, James Jefferson, I will be him. Just take care of me, mama, you know? But please don't have kids. Because if she had kids that were the same age as me, then I'd probably feel super awkward. But it's the whole idea. And it's funny because nowadays, if you've been on like a dating website or if you just like talk to people, everyone always says, I just want to marry somebody who has money and I'll totally be okay with it. Now, in the beginning, when you're talking about it, you sound like you're just fucking around, right? Well, deep down inside, I know anyone would jump on the opportunity. So, like,
Oh, yeah. Everyone just wants to be pretty for a living. Like, everyone just wants to be paid to just be a, like, cute person on someone
right?
else's arm. Hell yeah.
You get taken.
Everyone wants.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And, it's funny because people make it out to be like it's such some bad thing to do, which, I mean, I guess it really depends on the dynamic that you and this person have. But I mean, as a whole, it's essentially just like hanging out with a friend. But, there might be some hugging and maybe some kissing. And If you guys play baseball, you could make a home run, but that's just up to you. But as a whole, I mean, so I'm gonna give you guys some brief rundown. I just like to play around. I'm a goofy guy. If you didn't pay attention to that watermelon story and you couldn't tell, um, I used to work in the hospital in Michigan, and I loved messing around with the old people, specifically the older women, because they're just they're just there, and half the time they're sad. So I like to hit on the old ladies. It makes them smile, makes them feel good. It made me laugh, and I got to practice out my skills on older women. And if they liked it, then I hope that the younger crowd liked it. Which, believe it or not, I think the older crowd liked it better, which kind of tells me something about myself. But I'm not
Yeah, I
really going
think
to
that's
get it.
more you.
Yeah, I don't really want to get into that right now, but as a fact though, a lot of these ladies would follow up and hit on me, which it made me feel very flattered. But there's like a level between like flattery and creepy. And I don't know my limits, and I always manage to get myself to the creepy level. So one lady told me once, she like, looked at me, said I was very handsome, asked me if I was dating or if I was married. Of course, I said no to both because, again, I look like Quasimodo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. But she goes, I would love to take you home and lock you in my closet. And I was like, oh, this is where I leave you, you know? Obviously, I did not say that directly, but I continued to entertain her until I could rapidly walk away in fear from that lady's room.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You can't see my face, but it's full shock.
now, obviously, if there's ever a woman who says that to you, run. Never look back. If you're into that thing, I am very concerned for your mental and physical well being. And I will hope,
Maybe do it consensually.
yeah, I mean, just make sure you don't wear a diaper for her or
I
drink
mean,
out
if
of a
that's
what?
said, if that's your thing, whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
We don't
if
care.
you're if you're into it, go for it. But it's not my cup of tea, clearly. But as a whole, though, I mean, again, I don't think there's anything wrong. I mean, so like Jessica, if someone were to come up to you, I mean, would you ever like? What is your limit? I mean, obviously, like we all have, but like age wise, like if you had to, like, if somebody were to ask you to go out with them, what is like your age limit?
So, my age limit for just like a random person that like asked me to go out is 10 years. So I
That's not
also
bad,
being 25, I won't go out with anyone over the age of 35. Just because like that's where I'm comfortable.
right?
Because I actually the real reason I set that age limit is because that puts that person directly um in the middle of the uh, age between me and my mother. Like my mother's 21 years older than me. So
Oh
if
wow,
they're 10 years older than me, they're just barely closer to my age than my mom's. And that's the only reason.
that is
Um,
a very fair sentiment, though.
yeah, right. However, if this person were very rich, I I may change my mind.
Very
But
fair.
I like my job currently, and I make good money, so I wouldn't really want to like stop working,
Fair.
to do it. Um, that's a lie. Everyone would stop working, but I would like to
I
have the
would.
option to continue my job,
Right.
like on a part-time basis and do it when I want to. Um,
I mean, at this rate,
so
guys, I think Jessica's gonna be on like the path of becoming the sugar mama, and she might be on the verge of looking for a sugar baby.
so
So,
listen, I have something important to say. And maybe I shouldn't, but I'm going to. I recently offered to someone to become my stay-at-home husband because it would help me on my taxes.
hell to the
Um,
yeah.
and I was like, I don't need you to pay for anything. Like, I will pay for all of it.
I just need
You
you to
don't
be a
have to have
sit-in.
a job. Like, you just have to like clean the house and like take care of the dog. and
Damn.
like I'll pay for everything else. And like if you want to have like a part-time job or something to pay for like whatever stuff you want, like you can do that, but like you don't have to.
Hell, if I wasn't on this island, I'd be that guy. Holla at
Yeah.
your boy. No, but honestly though, that's legit. I admire that, and I hope nobody in the IRS is listening to this. So if you are, she was just joking. It was just a joke,
For legal
and
reasons, this is a joke.
yeah. But for those of you who are interested, you can reach us at 555-3021. Don't call that number because it belongs to my uncle. But no, but oh man, that was good. Sorry, Uncle Joe. But anyways, where were we? Yeah, so at the same time, if somebody were to straight up offer me something like that, I take it. I don't know if I would
So
give up. What?
I don't know that that's true because like here's the thing. Again, as like being a woman, and dating and like online in general, sometimes men just like offer you money for like things.
The weirdest
Um,
things.
yeah, not even always sexual things. Or I guess they're not sexual to me. Um, so like they probably are to them, but whatever. So men just like offer you money for things, right?
It's true.
And I don't like there's been a lot of people that I've like turned down, and not because I like don't think they have the money or not because it's like enough money, but just because it like feels weird to like say yes. Um like people have offered me literal thousands of dollars for stuff
Whoa.
and I'm just like no. Like I'm uncomfortable.
Right.
Like please. Um, However, there have also been like random dudes who are like, I want to buy you these shoes. And I'm like, okay, great. What's your credit card number?
God, what
You
I
can
would
do
give.
that, but you're not getting my address.
See,
Um,
that's the difference right there for men and women. I mean, I obviously can't speak on behalf of all women, and clearly Jessica just happens to run into the right fellows. But if a woman ever told me that she would pay for me in any way, shape, or form, whether it be for shoes, not only would I be very surprised and very what's the word, suspicious of their motives, I would definitely question it, even though they would definitely, if they just had the honest intent to just do it, I would be like, hell yeah. And I don't
okay,
know if I
let's
would
test
feel
that.
guilty.
Hold on. I want to test it. I'm going to straight up, like, I'm going to hit people up on Instagram and be like, hey, I want to buy you a pair of Jordans. And just see if they take me up on that.
Wow, if I'm honestly very curious about this. This will be
I
an
just want to see
experiment. So I think what we're gonna do is okay. So obviously, Jessica is one of those people who is true to her word, and she would do it because she's got that like seriousness, but she's just crazy enough to do something crazy. So if she does it, we will come back on the next episode and discuss with you the results. Which, knowing the people that Jessica knows, because she always knows people in the weirdest ways, which it's something that
So
we
do
have in
you.
common. We will share with you some of the interesting things that are, well, depending on the extent of what is said, we will share what the responses are.
Okay, so then you need to do it also. Like, you need to message random women and ask them so that we can see the difference.
Deal. This will
Okay.
happen. I will make this the experiment. And you guys heard it here. So I want to go ahead and just let it be known that you should not try this at home because we are adults.
To end up costing you some money.
Yeah. Because obviously, I'm broke and the government pays for everything that I use. So I do not actually have money, which not only will it hurt their hearts, but it would also ruin any chance that I would potentially have with said woman. So there goes for me. However, Jessica, on the other hand, I feel like even if she shafted them, they'd still be like, can I take you out? Because guys, I'm gonna tell you a little thing. We're weak. I feel like women are much stronger when it comes to the world of I don't know, not really, not necessarily relationships, but just in the realm of like, I guess you could say intimacy, but I don't even want to use that word. But just essentially, men are weaker than women, and I know I should be vouching for the men, but I have seen you guys out in the real world. I am friends with you guys out in the real world, and we suck. You guys give us bad names. I'm sorry. And also some of the things that Jessica showed me, I've seen some scary things and some scary, scary guys. And well, it makes me look beautiful. So, on that note, back to a brief little continuance of the sugar babies. Uh, again, I'm trying to think what else. I'm trying to think of like a limit. Oh, okay. So let me share a quick little story with you guys. So I was always like 100% against the whole like sugar mama, sugar baby, sugar daddy thing. I think it was totally weird. Then as growing up, I was like, I actually met someone in college, and me and Jessica went to college together. So like we know a lot of the same people, and I think this person that I am referencing, Jessica, you may know. But of course, I am not a name dropper, and I respect them enough to not say their name. But at the same time, when they told me one time that she would go out with guys, and I'm over here thinking like, oh, weird. I'm like, okay, like who are you going out with? Like obviously I'm thinking it's someone that we knew. She was like, oh no, like I would just go out with guys. And I was like, oh, okay, like and she would tell me they would be like, and imagine this girl was in her like mid 20s, and she's going out with dudes in like their 40s and their 30s, and I'm just like, oh, so you're one of those. And she explained to me, and I'm telling you, like these guys, super legit. She would tell me she never, not once, did anything sexual with them. They would get dressed up. They would buy her dresses. They would literally buy her $1,000 dress on top of an extra outfit. Take her out to dinner. Get her jewelry just for her to go out with them, and that was it. And when she said that, oh, I'm in my head like, really? That's all you guys did? But she was like a very like straight up person. Like she, even if she did, she'd tell me. So it's like I know that she wasn't lying to me. So it's like I don't know. Some part of me would be like, that honestly is like such a sweet setup. Like, don't you? Wouldn't you? Isn't that like an honest, like a great deal, Jessica? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, so I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know.
No, that is like that's like the ideal is just like be not only like compensated for your time, but also to like just get to go and like do stuff also. It's
Exactly.
like
And they were taking her out to some like fancy ass places, and I'm thinking like, well, you're in your mid 20s going out to all these fancy places. Well, I'm still playing at Chuck E. Cheese trying to fight over the ball pit with little Jeffrey over here, who won't stop stealing my tokens when I'm turning around. So, so all in all, if any of you guys have single parents or lonely parents, let them know that Aladdin is definitely single and he is great at making tea, and he knows how to have a good time. Not sexually, of course, because, I don't do that. But but just know, and again, you can reach me at 555-2021, and that right there is the end of the topics for today's Tea Time with Aladdin. But I also want to know if you guys would ever consider being a sugar baby. I am definitely interested in knowing. And share your thoughts, obviously, because I want to know who else thinks about these things, or if I'm just crazy and super weird that I'm thinking about being somebody's sugar baby. Because I want to be pretty. I want someone to look at me and say, you're worth it. Everybody, that was the end of the topics. I want to thank Jessica for joining us this morning. Thank you, Jessica.
yeah, and thank you for having me.
Of course, it's my pleasure, and I do hope that you are on the show further for the rest of the next, couple of days. I know you're busy with work, but if you got some time, please join me as we share our beautiful thoughts of relationships and all things that we have to offer these beautiful people and the advice that we could give and bring to their lives.
Absolutely.
But until then, we will see you guys later, and I'm going to go ahead and prep for you the song of the day. So sit back, relax, and stay tuned for that. Alrighty, guys. So on to the greatest part of the show, the song of the day. And the song of the day comes at you guys from one of my actual favorite artists that I feel aren't as recognized yet, but I can't wait until they make it really big. They're known as Offbeat. Now, let me tell you the story about how I ran into Offbeat. So Offbeat, once upon a time, they added me on Instagram. And, at the time I was like, okay, guys trying to make it big. Everyone just, spamming out the invites. Follow them on their page and whatnot. So I was like, all right, what the hell? I'm going to follow these guys. Well, that small little thing ended up turning into a huge thing because ever since I followed them that day, I've been hooked on their music. And once upon a time, this song came onto me again on Spotify, and I was like, holy crap. I was like, these guys are now advertised on my Spotify playlist. And without a doubt, some of the best music you'll ever hear. And the group is known as Offbeat. It's composed of two guys. You got Grant Glazier and Uni Hunt. And to my understanding, they met at school. And from that point on, they started collabing together and they started making music. Thus, Offbeat was born. Now, the song that I chose for you guys today is called Butterflies. And Butterflies, to me, when I hear the song, just makes you think about when you're in a not in a relationship, but when you like a girl, right? You think of that one person. This applies for guys too, I guess, or for girls and guys. Now, when you like somebody and you get those like butterflies in your stomach, it gives you that like weird fluttery sensation. You're nervous, you're anxious, you want to be with that person, you just want to be with them. You're constantly thinking about them, and you're going to do whatever it is you can to be with this person because the butterflies in your stomach got you acting all kinds of ways, right? Now, these guys are very underrated, and I think everyone who gets a chance to listen to them will not only get blown away with their sound because they got a mix of like jazz with some hip hop, some rap to it. They got just a wide variety of sounds, and the way they composed Butterflies is just amazing. It was actually hard to pick a single song from them to deliver to you guys today. So I hope Butterflies is the song that gets you hooked. So please, ladies and gentlemen, as I present to you Butterflies by Offbeat, enjoy.
Don't bring me closer to you, oh, 'cause I'm waiting by the minute, falling deeper in it. I know, he know what? I deeply hate how I do, oh, like it over, love the flutters in my stomach with you. 'Cause I got butterflies, baby, and you're oh so fly, baby, and I'm feeling the effect of your hands all on my neck. I'm not trying to second guess, I just want us to connect. Butterflies, baby, and you're oh so fly, baby, and I'm so intoxicated by moves that you've been making. So don't stop instigating, I know it's just for the taking.
'Cause I like it, know I love it. Got me singing from my stomach, got me talking like a puppet. I've been gleaming, I said fuck it.
Fuck around for a minute.
I've been out, yeah, I was down for a minute. Had to pick my shoulders back about a slouch for a minute, just to crouch for a minute. Find somebody who can keep me on the ground for a minute. Never mentally pretend to be anything I ain't meant to be. Hennessy got me I've been learning the proper etiquette, stepping up for the hell of it, forgetting if what you trying to do. Just
there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That right there was Butterflies by Offbeat. And for clarification, that is Offbeat, AWFBEAT. That is one word, Offbeat. Now, you guys can check out more of Offbeat's music on SoundCloud, Napster. I know they're on Spotify. And if you want to see all the other platforms that you can check out Offbeat, you can go to their website, offbeatofficial.com. Everything you need to know about them. If you want to buy some merch from them, which honestly, I love their merch style. It's all up on their website. So feel free to check them out. Offbeat, thank you again for letting me have your guys' music advertised on my show. I really appreciate you, so thank you very much. And to everybody else who is listening, I hope you guys get addicted just like I did. And I also appreciate you guys for listening to my show. This concludes today's episode of Tea Time with Aladdin. So always and forever, thank you for listening. Thank you for having me. And have a wonderful day. Peace and love, guys. See you next episode.